welcome back to my channel. This is Anastasia here with this week's Teen Mom Recap. This episode starts with Amber. She's been burned before, so she doesn't know if she can trust Dimitri. What, was she starting fires too? Was that another part of the whole abuse thing? Their relationship has been leaked to the press, and strangely, European websites posted it before American ones, which is unusual for this very American show. She's worried that Dimitri is behind it, with his underground Euro press connections, I guess. But anyway, Dimitri denies leaking the story to the press. But she's noticed a lot of random numbers texting him, and she asks him who it is, but he won't show her his phone. All Amber wants from a guy is honesty. I'm way honest, which is how they get me. I want him to take a lie detector test. She thinks guys use her for fame, like Matt. She says he thought he was gonna be famous after the breakup. Yeah, you're real famous now, buddy. I'm not gonna lie, Amber, that was actually really funny. Gary hopes Amber doesn't freak out and get security called on her like what happened when Matt failed the lie detector test. I also hope for Amber's own sake that she doesn't wear that gray lie detector test jumpsuit again, because she was looking dumb as hell. Mackenzie Edwards went into labor while Bentley was over there, so he got to be there when Stella was born. Larry's glad that they have a big family. Luckily, both Macy and Mackenzie pop him out like rabbits. They joke about who Stella looks like. Ryan thinks that Stella looks like her grandma because they both don't have teeth. Ryder is finally starting to miss Corey. They only get to FaceTime with him at specific times throughout the day. Ryder gets a fever and is unable to hold down food, so Cheyenne has to bring her to the hospital due to her health condition. Caitlin pretends to want to launch her career, but Tyler is actually relaunching something, that being his clothing line Tiara Rain. It sort of disappeared for a while because it became too much to handle when him and Kate were separated, but now he wants to bring it back. He mentions needing a customer service representative to work for them. Kate's like, I'll do it. Tyler's like, no you won't. Tyler's known Kate for 15 years. I think he knows her work ethic pretty well at this point, and she apparently can't even be trusted with customer service for her own husband's company. But to his credit, Tyler does let her down gently. He's like, oh, you're the mom. I need someone who's going to be able to do this 24/7. And, who can't use "I'm tired and depressed today" as an excuse to not do work. Mackenzie's daughter Jaxie's birthday is coming up, but she doesn't want to throw a party without her mom because her mom was such a big part of the parties in the past. So Mackenzie's going to take her to Florida while she teaches a workout class. What's funny is Mackenzie is actually from a city called Miami, and I used to think she was from Florida, but then I saw her episode and it was like real redneck shit, and I'm like, that's not South Florida. So it turns out there's actually a city named Miami in Oklahoma. So, come on down to the real Miami, Mackenzie. It's a lot better. She's been relying on her friends recently for emotional support since Josh doesn't know how to handle grief. Or anything referred to as emotions at all. He doesn't seem to know how to handle. I think Mackenzie needs to update Robo-Josh's software with the latest emotions expansion pack. She tells her friend that she resents Josh, but her friend thinks that she's just taking her sadness out for her mom out on Josh. All her friends back up Josh. It's kind of sad. They seem like they're never on her side. Like, is Josh banging all of them? I don't understand why they're so sympathetic to him and not her. Then she describes this really sad scene where she was sitting alone with her mom after she took her last breath in the hospital. Everyone else left right after, and she was just sitting there thinking, there's no way this just happened. Why did everyone just leave? And she feels she's not strong without her. Mackenzie Edwards, that's Ryan's wife, comes home from giving birth to Stella. She asks Ryan what he thought of the experience, and he was annoyed that she woke him up at 6 a.m. with the contractions, but he was glad that he was there this time. Mackenzie's like, well, you were there for Bentley. Why are you acting like you were never there for the births before? Mackenzie would know that he was there for Bentley, I guess, because she probably watched Macy's 16 and Pregnant episode on a loop for 18 hours with a notebook in hand, eyes glued on the screen, studying every move Macy made, like, Ryan Edwards is gonna be my man one day. You just watch, Macy. I'm gonna get that man if it kills me. Amber says that she has trust issues because, and I quote from Amber, I've been hit boom so hard with my exes. You've been hit so hard. The irony, I just cannot. It's low-hanging fruit. I'm not even gonna go for it. Dimitri's real quiet. I don't know if that's because he thinks this bitch can't possibly be complaining about other people hitting her, or because he only understands 15% of the English that's coming out of her mouth, so he just stays quiet most of the time so he doesn't make himself look stupid. Amber takes him to the lie detector place. The lie detector guy starts explaining the process to Dimitri, and he's very stone-faced, unemotional throughout the whole thing. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say this, I'm really not trying to be sarcastic, but is he gonna be able to understand the questions that this guy asks him? I thought maybe they were going to translate for him, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. That doesn't seem to be the case. So how accurate can that test really be when Dimitri hardly speaks English? Is no one questioning that? And the administrator even said something about asking if he had skeletons in his closet. Like, that's a very English phrase. It's an American idiom. I don't think he actually knows what that means, skeletons in your closet. Like, oh, do I have skeletons in my closet? My accent's terrible, I'm sorry. No, that's weird. Do Americans always put dead people in their closet? I haven't kept the bodies in there recently. It seems much less suspicious just to bury them in the backyard. Stupid Americans. Ryder is still in the hospital. They put her in isolation. She's only allowed to leave once she can hold food down. Cheyenne decides not to tell Corey about it because she doesn't want Corey to quit the challenge to come to the hospital. Don't worry, if last time Ryder was sick was any indication, he won't. Mackenzie gets Jaxie cupcakes for her birthday and starts telling this sweet story about how Josh was holding her in his arms 6 years ago and she was sleeping because she was so tired from giving birth. And Jaxie just says, "Mommy, I know you actually wanted a boy." "Who told you that?" "Papa." I love when the kids expose the shit out of the moms and the moms just stand there in a cold sweat like, "Sweetie, that wasn't a very marketable thing to say." Mackenzie says, well, Josh wanted a girl though, so that's a little bit of a consolation prize, I guess. They take her to see the dolphins in Florida. Tyler arrives to a business meeting with Detroit Sewn, who sews outfits for Tiara Rain. It goes well, but later he looks at the website and notices they tripled the prices of all his clothes. He's not okay with that, but he also doesn't want to save money by outsourcing to China because he can't vouch that there isn't child labor going on there. And he says, there could be kids with their fingers bleeding making clothes for 60 cents an hour. I do think it's pretty cool that Tyler locally sources for Tiara Rain and he doesn't save money by making stuff in China. The results of the lie detector test are in. They asked him things like, are you getting famous off of Amber? Are you planning to use her? Dimitri showed what is called nervous tension on some of the questions. However, he passed all of them. They share a pretty strong kiss in the lie guy's office, and Amber looks super happy. She's relieved and she tells him she trusts him now, but she's still scared to be in a relationship. "I never thought I could be loved." "I love you just for you." It's hard to accept that for some reason, possibly because she has very few positive traits. It's been the same towards every man. When they mess up and do crazy shit, I'm the psycho. Can you believe that? I worry about someone trying to take my money or build fame off of me. I've been waiting for this for such a long time. I'm so happy I found you, Dimitri. Everything is great now. So, how about that Dutch language translated lie detector test? Ryan and his family gush over Stella. Ryan likes her because she sleeps all the time. Ryan can relate to that very strongly. He also hopes that she turns out like a tomboy, while Jen hopes that she's a girly girl because she is the only girl out of all her grandkids. It's okay, Jen. She'll probably turn out girly because we all know that you and Mackenzie are going to be the ones raising her. Ryder comes out of the hospital and Cheyenne is kind of traumatized because Ryder would scream whenever she was awake in the hospital and then just kind of pass out and go back to sleep. And her arm was covered in blood from the IV, which I'm sure is super hard to see when you're a mom. Also, Ryder ends up going back to the hospital the next day after she was discharged because she still can't hold food down. Cheyenne is mentally and emotionally exhausted, and part of her wants to tell Corey. But she doesn't want to mess with his head, but she could use the help, and also he kind of deserves to be there. She does not end up calling him, but she tells the doctor to tell her if it gets bad enough that she needs to. Tyler calls Karen about the pricing of the clothing. She gives him a little business 101 lesson here. The higher quantity of clothing of the same style that you make, the cheaper it'll be. Whereas if you make a small number of a lot of styles, it's going to be more expensive to produce. It's the basic concept of wholesale. It's like going to Costco, when you buy a lot of the same thing, it's cheaper. Tyler hesitantly agrees to make less styles, but he knows it's a compromise. He says, when the right policy is in place, nobody is satisfied. Clothing is such a hard business, coming from the CEO of H&M himself, Tyler Baltiera. Mackenzie teaches a workout class, and while she's doing it on the beach there, she says, we're doing cardio, and it's gonna be hardio. I always thought Mackenzie would make like a great kindergarten teacher. Maybe she can sing that song of hers to them.
Yeah, being healthy is the sweetest treat. The sweetest treat is the sweetest treat. Being healthy is the sweetest treat.
Her and Josh sit on the beach afterwards, and they say they're happy to get away instead of, throwing a big party with family that would have been hard for them during this time. She tells Josh her issues are a me problem that turned into an us problem, and it should have stayed a me problem. He doesn't say much, he just smiles like, woof, got that off my back. Yay for taking the blame off Josh again, even when he actually does do stuff wrong. I mean, they're in a marriage, so actually, the me problem she's talking about, he should be helping with that. I don't know why everyone gives this guy such a pass. He should be more supportive of her. They're married. They're a couple, And that's all for this episode of Teen Mom OG. Do you think Cheyenne should have called Corey to tell him about his daughter being very sick? Or should she just let him go off and do his work and not worry about it? Do you think Dimitri actually understood the lie detector test? Do you think that the accuracy of it was kind of hurt because he didn't seem to understand what was going on? Should they have translated it? Do you think he's actually telling the truth? He didn't leak the story. He's not with Amber for fame? Make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what you think, and make sure to subscribe for Teen Mom Recaps every week.